Yeah.
Told me to go.
And
Don't tell me that.
What was her failing?
That's what,
She's oblivious to the
yeah.
lung cancer.
Yeah, exactly.
I got a little stick in the hernia right here. Up on the lung.
Yeah.
She never small size. She did carotid artery.
He's doing,
Hanging in there.
Welcome everyone to committee meeting for Monday, August 8th.
you see the thing start off tonight,
Common Services Committee.
Wyndham thing. Good day, Dave.
Set. All right. You want to take?
Not unless anyone had any questions.
Anyone have corrections for Michelle?
I did forward the summary of the federal program that was just expanded for vets. I got her synopsis. I believe everybody had any questions back, but I wanted to make sure that we were all ready in case any of those applications came in for the office.
And it appears you are.
She's ready.
Very.
Okay, then. We have one action item, budget amendment, Greene County Youth Bureau, Youth Sports and Education Opportunity Funding Allocations. I would like to move that. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Overbought second.
Ask something on this, and I don't know if anybody read through this. The state, there's some qualifications in here that I'm not sure how much of our county is eligible for.
It's a cookie cutter again.
This is again geared toward low income places that have historically been underserved. And I don't know exactly, Warren, I don't know what the demographics are on this. Do you know how much is eligible of the county for this?
I don't, and every grant has a different way of calculating underserved.
This may only be one town.
Wouldn't that be a question for community action?
This will be a question, I think, before we pass this resolution as to how this can spend here. Because it's not eligible for many groups that we do have. The money's coming to us to hand out.
Well, it's not, I don't believe it's time sensitive. I can pull it for a month and want to look into that.
I just didn't know if anybody else had any insight on this, if they read through it, to take a look at this. I don't usually have a problem taking free money that's coming from the state, but in this case, it seems to be very targeted. I'm not even sure how well we can utilize.
When they say local nonprofit organizations, I mean, are there specific ones they're looking at, or?
Well, it says you have to be a private foundations, 509s, taxes
Not
and stuff.
No, actually, that's, pages are reversed right here. If you look at it, the pages are out of order. So the 509s cannot go, that's an endowment fund.
Right.
I don't know, it just kind of struck me.
Well, I did read through it, and there are some hurdles, but I don't know if they're insurmountable.
If we can't use it, we have to give it back anyway.
Right, I was just gonna say, it won't take much to spend $100.
The only thing I can say, Pat, is looking historically at our school districts for the most part. There are, when it comes to kids eligible for like free and reduced lunch, they determine, poverty level. So there are school districts within our county that are certainly have, 50% of their kids who, fit that or fall into that category. So I know sometimes people get caught up and say, well, Greene County is doing better in these towns and real estate and things like this, but the youth population anyway in itself, many of them are definitely, lower income.
It's also reimbursement, so we've got to define the program, expend the money, and then seek reimbursement. So if we define a program that can't fulfill it, then we don't spend any money and we don't select reimbursement.
it just didn't look to me like, like a lot of school programs would be eligible because they don't fit the criteria.
Right.
It would have to be a not-for-profit that would do it. I'm not, just not sure how many are out there doing it.
Well, sports wise, there are, I mean, you have
Yeah.
American Legion Baseball.
But are they low income? Do they hit the target groups? That's what I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know, they probably don't have a staggered fee structure for.
Well, it's for whatever, I mean, but I mean, a lot of the kids, they don't have to because they don't have means, I mean.
The Greene County Y does have a staggered fee schedule, and they do have scholarships for low income. But they did anyway.
There's also, in the schools, they know who let's say needy students are. I mean, some of them that want to participate in sports can't afford the equipment to play them. This might be a way to get them money so they can afford cleats or, you know what I mean?
No, this was more like the way that the state has worded this, is it's high rates of family homelessness, which we don't have. Other than in maybe one district. Opportunity zones, low income. I'm not sure if there's more than one or maybe two in the county. Marginalized communities with groups of higher barriers to participation in sports. This is youth with disabilities, girls, transgender, non-binary youth, lesbian, gay, bisexual, and questioning identified youth. Federal.
And Sean, did our youth bureau put this forward?
No, this actually came. CFS. This CFS, it was just from treasurer's office to move funds.
It was from Canberra.
It was from Youth and Family Services.
Right. So did Perry Wallace or somebody look at this? And is it something that they have already planned?
That's what I don't know, Matt. It doesn't seem like we fit a lot of the criteria here. But like Sean said, if it's an expenditure that gets reimbursed.
Right. It looks like they're allocating the funds for each county a certain amount.
I mean, Pat, I can only say, volunteering Little League, CYO basketball, coaching and helping out fields. We set up in Little League, for an example, a fund for kids who come from very little means that, they couldn't afford the uniform. So that fund provided that uniform and a baseball glove and cleats, and things like that. So I think
I get that. But
yes.
This is specifically defined as neighborhoods, cities, and areas that are deemed low income. Not a couple families here and there or whatever.
Yeah.
This is something that comes out of the census that says this is a low income area. And that's what they're targeting.
It says,
Well, Greene County is a low income area by state records or whatever keeping. We're considered a poor county.
Number 6 on the list.
it also says municipal youth bureau. That's what they're looking for. I don't know if many communities have that set up. I know that Hunter was looking to
There's quite a few that do.
doing that, but if you have that, that's what it's, so if there's people that have this in the county, they would be able to get it.
We could bring Carrie in on Monday. If you wanted to have some additional explanation prior to full board approval.
Well, if it's reimbursement, then we don't spend the money to begin with because it doesn't fit criteria. It's not going to matter one way or the other. Yeah, fine with it.
All right,
Thank you for indulging.
we had a motion in 2 seconds.
Okay,
Over Bob Levin.
was it?
Bloomer over Bob Levin.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Is there anything else for county services this evening?
Motion to close.
Okay, I'll second that. We are closed.
Hey, let's do a public works committee at 6:13. We'll start out with our highway superintendent's report.
We have only a couple of items on the agenda as far as action items, although it is extremely busy construction season. That list is short this week, or this month. Counter 22 is in construction. There was some slight delays due to bearing delivery, but those have been delivered and progress should start picking up shortly. Counter 83, that's been on the agenda quite a lot regarding the right-of-way. As of Wednesday, August 3rd, there has been an agreement reached between our right-of-way consultants and the property owner. Hopefully we get that signed and we can get that project built next year. The projected letting date is March of this year, so that puts us on schedule for next year's construction. County 40 and 61 bridges, those are still progressing. Projected construction of those are between 24 and 25, depending on how right-of-way goes. Same Timberlake Road and Bloomer Road, we finally reached agreements with all property owners and we should get right-of-way clearance on both those projects with a November of this year letting date. County 17 is in progress right now and ahead of schedule. Evergreen construction is doing quite well. It's actually works out. Although we're in a drought, he's working in the stream, so it's been very productive for him. County Route 2 culvert replacement. We're still waiting on the fabrication of the structure, but they're still scheduled to start mid to late August, which looks like it's probably going to be late August before they start that project. County Route 20 is on schedule and in construction. Black Cove Road, that is still in preliminary design, but we expect that to be constructed next year as well. So next construction season with Timberlake, Bloomer Road, it's going to be a busy construction season again. We're continuing to do roadside mowing, brush, and limb clearing. You'll see on the agenda awarding tree services for Halkett. We're just so short-staffed right now. We don't have the personnel to send out to Halkett this year to complete that work before winter, which has to be done. There's quite a few trees out there that need to be taken down and cleared from our right-of-way. Going out there and clearing just 1 or 2 trees isn't really worth it for us, so we put a contract out. Hopefully they can get all those trees removed and cleared before the winter.
Are they gonna leave the trees there for people to use, or how?
They're gonna be worked out with the town that we're gonna take all the large tree and put it in their yard, cut it up in 16-inch to 20-inch lengths and get it to the town hall and they can distribute it as they wish.
And these trees are all in our right of ways?
Unfortunately, yes, they are all in our right of way.
What are they, dead ash? or-
Ash trees, 90% of them are dead ash trees. The ash boring beetle has decimated I mean, pretty much if you have an ash tree anywhere in Greene County, it's either dying or it's dead. Solid waste, well, we have a tremendous amount of construction going on right now. Coxsackie Transfer Station is still on schedule and doing quite well. We have temporary operations at 370 Manson Street. That continues. We haven't heard anything negative so far, so that is going well. 100 Transfer Station, we just received the scale house. That has been delivered. We're still trying to hook it up and get that squared away. So it's one positive news for the 100 scale house. Catskill Transfer Station Recycling Facility. Jerson Construction broke ground and they're well on their way to start digging. I believe the footings are going to be poured this Friday, which is good. What's up? Kooksaki's on schedule. The structure itself should be delivered any day now. So once they get that, it should be go up pretty quickly.
But they got the pit pulled out and all that stuff.
Yep, the building is gone, the pit's gone. They're filling in. They should be starting the retaining wall this week. But it's interesting to see how much space we have now that building is gone. The compost pilot program is going well. We're receiving, how much do we have received so far?
Total, I'm not offhand, but about 200 pounds a day.
So we're doing about 200 pounds a day of receiving compost, organic material. And we also have on the agenda the Koksaki transfer station fueling system. We never put that on the agenda for the new station, but we plan on, because it's a direct haul station, we plan on fueling the trucks at that station to direct haul out. It saves over $100,000 a year to the county by fueling those trucks, with the cost difference between what the county can get the fuel and what the actual price that the hauling companies.
Is this fuel system the same system at the other sites?
Yes.
Sure, 1,000 gallons gonna be enough.
I was gonna ask the same thing.
Yes, with the delivery, yes. It should be.
What do you got at Hunter? 1,000?
Hunter, yeah, it's located across the street at the highway building.
Okay. If you don't, not sure if you know, what was the cost for the fuel system when we did Hunter? And how much has inflation?
We didn't do, because we're using the highway building's fueling station.
Oh, all right.
So we never installed a fueling station.
Okay, so it's not something that you have a price on.
So
2 years
The
ago.
last time we did was Catskill, and that was, I can't even remember, I'm sure.
That was what, 5,000 gallons? 3,000?
That was after it got hit or something.
Right, insurance paid for that.
Yeah, the insurance paid that.
And you have one in West Athens?
That was on, or that.
Got
Yes,
yeah, one in West Athens. How big is that?
I think that's only 1,000 gallon as well. 1,000 gallons usually. I mean, if we were going to increase anything, that's why we have the 3,000 at Catskill. But the other station should be good.
So explain that again, the fueling part of it for me.
We provide fueling in order to avoid the fuel escalation costs to haul.
So the private carriers come in.
We have Main
Pick up
Care,
our-
we have a contract with Main Care. They come in, fuel our tanks. And those tanks are then, the trucks come in, fuel their trucks with those tanks, our fueling station.
The trucks that are taking our waste out to, out western New York. So we're putting fuel in there.
Right, because
So
we get a.
that'll
we get
be
a dis-
cheaper for a bill back.
Right, we get a discounted rate for fuel,
Okay.
much less than what the haulers do.
That's fine.
Wasn't it something 94 gallons per trip or something that was the
Correct.
rate? Yeah.
Right.
Per truck, so you guys just did the math and,
Yeah, I mean, that's just using 2 trucks a day,
yeah,
a little over $2.20 a gallon savings.
yeah.
It's around. The savings will just add up if we put more trucks, so. That's it for this.
I know I sent somebody down and you interviewed a particular person for a job, but I was just wondering how that was going.
Well, we've actually received several applications. We actually put his name forward. Unfortunately, it does take 6 to 10 weeks, sometimes more, in order to onboard somebody.
So how can that take so much time to hire somebody? Doesn't that, I mean, if somebody needs a job and you're gonna tell them, well, you can have the job, but it's gonna take you 3 months to get it, that makes absolutely 0 sense.
We do a background investigation.
You have to vet in before you bring them in.
Drug testing. Offers of employment are all conditioned upon those things after the offer is made. We have to do the background check and we have to do drug testing.
3 months for a background check?
That's good.
Scott just says it's 6 weeks or what?
6 weeks, it should tell me. It
You're
should
still asking. That doesn't seem ridiculous, anybody?
Yes.
I mean, when somebody wants a job and so he's gonna get a job somewhere else. And when you say, okay, come sign your paper, I'm sorry, I've been working somewhere else for 14.
Important positions like these, you're down how many people right now?
Wheels of government.
How many?
Slow.
So you're down 12 people, right? So we're getting the tail end, we're in August, right? So before you know, it'll be into the fall. The most important time for you is the winter time, right?
Absolutely.
So you got to have your people on board, ready to train, you got to train them, allow snow. I mean, seems like a pretty, serious hire that we should have to try to expedite the background if we can.
Oh, we call the sheriff a lot, saying, can you put number 17 on top of the list?
Yeah, I mean, that's what we can do.
And then the person themselves has to make the arrangements for the drug test.
Well, my point is that if you need somebody in the winter time,
Better fast track it now.
Well, that's what I just said.
I'm just saying, say people retire all year
You gotta train-
long.
you gotta train
So now you get 3 people leaving in the middle of the winter. Well, it'll be summertime by the time you can hire them. I mean, that's.
Hopefully get expedited the background.
Block is the,
That'll speed it up.
The background and drug test, and then
Well,
the
it might-
coordination
well, I think
with
right. That's all right.
payroll, because we don't start people in the middle of a payroll period because of the requirement to have a
I can do
payroll
it.
bag.
I got my license.
First check.
Now, do you hire the people contingent to the background and drug test? So you could hire them today
Picture of me.
with an agreement that contingent upon them passing the background and the drug test.
Conditional offer of employment.
Right, conditional offer. So that would,
Did a good job.
you start the training then.
No, we don't put them on payroll
yeah, I'll tell you
until
what,
everything comes back.
Oh, I thought you said contingent of.
It's contingent upon a successful background investigation and a drug test.
Oh, because I've seen it done the other way too, where you bring them in, and they fail either or, they go.
and then you spend a bunch of
Spend my
money.
time on training.
Yeah,
It's a
okay.
pain.
Understand.
Yeah, that's it. It's a long time.
I mean, most people looking for a job, need a job. They don't have a job and say, I'm gonna get a better job and then, wait to get it. I mean, most people need a job right away. I don't know. Maybe it's just.
I have to agree with you,
No, it's not
and I don't agree with you too often.
Hey, thanks, brother.
That's where it is, the hold up and see if we can streamline that process a little bit.
Yeah, the big thing is the background. The big thing is the
They
background.
could streamline.
And that's all done by our own sheriff's department.
I happen to know somebody who works there.
You can do a background check for purchasing a firearm and it's a couple days. It's not-
Well, if you already have if you're already in the system, they do the
Yeah.
back and you get it in an hour. Cause
Yeah,
I bought long guns in gun shows before and you buy the gun, you walk around, by the time you come back, you're all set.
right.
See if we can speed that up.
I'll look into it.
Sheriff will love it.
Yeah.
I'll get on Pete. Strike that. Can I do that?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Scott.
How long does it take, how long does it take for that solid waste to then break down, the organic stuff to break down to a usable mulch down?
About 24 hours.
24 hours.
But then they gotta mix it.
Yeah, well,
You have
it's-
to mix the material, was it 7-to-1?
4-to-1.
4-to-1?
So you're keeping 75% of the broken down material to mix in with the new material, so the bacteria keeps working.
Correct.
So you're only taking 25% out basically each time. Well, it's 1,000 pounds in there, right? So you can take 250 pounds out a day. But you need that.
When you get to that,
bacteria.
when you get to that 1,000 pounds.
Yeah, when you
Right.
when you get it filled up to that, yeah.
We have some that we've taken out, it's been cured, but
Yeah.
it's late in the season, so nobody's really looking for it. But it'll be good for next year.
A couple hundred pounds a day that's not going into the solid waste stream.
Absolutely.
That'll be done in the spring.
Did you ever do a check to see, so you're saving, so it takes a week to fill it up to run it. It runs on electricity for 24 hours, right?
Not constant though.
Did you
It
ever,
runs for 5 minutes, it'll stop for 3 minutes, it'll run for 10 minutes, stop for.
so is there a cost analysis to how much it costs to actually break that down? Because I mean, a ton of, what we get for a ton of solid waste, the minimum is,
Well, we charge 105.
so is it cost effective to do it?
To not haul it.
We're keeping it out of the waste stream.
Yeah.
To not haul it, not.
Daryl, I don't think that unit is like a high
Well, that's what I'm
electrical
asking.
consumption. I think it's only 110, right?
Thought you were-
It's not a high,
It doesn't use a
it's
lot.
just
of-
using an electric motor to rotate the
And
drum,
you're
right,
saving
and air,
$100.
and air.
No, I understand.
A little blower motor to bring air in. So it's not like a, high energy consuming device.
Well, that's my
for
question.
that, but,
If it is a cost effective,
yeah.
so I guess you would say yes. I don't know. They're professional, but that's why.
We can take it because we.
I mean, it is a pilot.
Again,
Fluid control.
I mean, we can look at the average consumption of what we use at the Cashville transfer station, but it's really gonna be.
And you won't be able to tell
compared
it's just
to-
matched up. But I would think, like, when you buy a refrigerator,
Right.
it tells you how much it costs you a year to run it. I would think when you bought that, it would tell you.
Yeah, it is
Specs, it does say.
Yeah, that company will have that for you. They'll have that for you.
Okay, now that I totally lost control, Matt. Proposed action item. Accepting formal proposal for the removal of hazardous trees on County Route 1 and County Route 3, Town of Hawkett.
Like,
Village.
Leg and Buellich, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Authorizing purchase and installation of new fueling station at Coxsackie Transfer Station.
Martinez.
Marquez and Hobart, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Budget amendment, insurance recovery, Hunter Salt Shed, Scott Lane, Athens Salt Shed. I do have one thing that was brought to my attention on this. And we'll get to it here.
Yeah, we have a typo under being resolved.
Being resolved, yep, I just want to, it
Is it
says Greene
authorized
County's
funds?
jail budget.
Yeah, that's from a previous resolution that didn't get corrected. So this money just goes to the highway fund.
So it should just say highway budget.
As long as we're all aware of it, thank you.
Did I have a motion there?
I'll introduce.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Establishing capital project number 130, shoreline at the point.
Now, what's that million, what do you call it? What's that for? Engineering or what?
No, that's for the actual project itself. That's for the construction, steel, basically steel sheeting on that.
Hell, I'll make that.
around
Does the county put that money away?
I have it in fund balance. We closed it. When we closed the books, we also had the application in. Warren, can you hear me?
Yes.
We had the application in, and I believe we didn't score enough points under the federal system. Warren, go ahead.
Correct. We've applied twice under the FEMA BRIC program. First, it was a competition nationally, and then the second application was a smaller pool. In both instances, we did not score high enough. Their cost benefit calculator is really not the type of program that works well for this type of project. You have to have a lot of loss from previous flooding, and since it's a very rustic building, it's mostly, mucking out the silt and things like that. So we need to proceed to move to the full construction drawings. The permitting has already been worked on. Soil and Water has been working with Barton LaJudas with us. So we've been working on this for over a year, and we need to get some traction on it and actually get some engineering done and put it out to bid. That's the opinion of probable cost. And to add what Sean said, it's not just the sheet piling, but that dock hasn't been worked on for about 20 years. So it needs to be resurfaced. And the pylons and the cleats that hold the ships down, we have a temporary cabling system in place in order to accommodate those big ships. So we've limped along for too long without really getting a permanent solution on this. So we need to proceed to the engineering and get some bid specs put together and see what the real cost would be.
Wouldn't, Warren, wouldn't Army Corps of Engineers be involved in the engineering side? There's the navigable water.
It's just the DEC. And Joel from Soil and Water has a lot of experience with this. Soil and Water and the highway have done quite a bit of work on the shoreline down there. Soil and Water thinks it's going to really be a maintenance permit. And last summer, we had the DEC down there to go over what our concept plans are, and we got a preliminary green light to go ahead to proceed with putting in the full application.
So nothing from Army Corps of Engineers with the channel there?
Well, I'm not an expert on this, Mike, but I think when the DEC, which may have primacy on this, at least in the permitting, they're going to coordinate with whatever Army Corps or federal rules they're going to be. But the lead entity that we deal with is the DEC.
Right. So part of my question is if Army Corps of Engineers could do the engineering, and that might not even be a cost then to Greene County, potentially, if they were to be involved.
I don't believe they have a program that they fund projects. It's all to be funded by the owner of the property, unless you can get grants. And we have applied through FEMA, the federal agency that does shoreline, at least the BRIC program, without success yet. We've had Barton LaJudas, they're specialists on shoreline and soil and water. If there was a program where Army Corps would pay for it, I'm sure they would be well aware of it.
We've discussed with former Representative Delgado, I believe, as well, have we not?
Yes, and Hinchy as well, and Tague. We've had them advocate for us both times with this program.
God.
Oh, wow, take a big wood.
Maybe
We left the wood.
But we're having serious erosion on that bank wall.
That's gotta be correct.
We did an emergency repair and then it slumped again. And there was a second emergency repair done as well.
I mean, if you have a slope failure and then that tumbles into the channel there, you have a yours truly oil tanker going up to the Port of Albany and bottoms out right there. That's amazing.
There's not a lot of room for us to do stabilization. And the regulatory agencies really like us to first look at doing green stuff like sloped with soil and vegetation and things like that. There's not enough room. And remember, we even had divers go down there and look at the toe and where the depth of the channel is. And there's not a lot of options for us. In fact, the option that would give us the maximum protection is pretty much the only option that's available to us, and that's sheet piling.
Sheet piling.
Yep.
With anchors too. It's a challenging piece of property.
That's a jewel of Greene County.
High tide instead of low tide too, right?
Jewel.
Okay, we had a motion, a second for that.
I did. I made the motion.
We have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Anything else to bring underneath Public Works before we close?
Entertain a motion for adjournment.
Second.
Closed.
Almost lost control.
Hey, Sean, do you want to bring up?
Almost.
Sean,
Almost, but not quite.
do you want to bring up just to fill them in on that thing with Joe today, or?
No.